Hi homeschoolers, it's me Jazz again from Hidden Library Homeschool, and I'm back with another homeschool book haul. So this is going to be part 2 out of probably 3, maybe even 4 fall book haul videos, since I have once again another huge, huge stack of books that I'm not even going to get through in this video. And I also have some more books that I've purchased that I'm waiting for them to come in. Some are coming from England and some are coming from Amazon third-party sellers, so both could take a little bit of time. So there's definitely going to be more book haul videos to come. But to start out this one, I'm actually going to show you a book that we already had, and that is Vocabulary Vine. And this is a book that we used last year. We started it. There are 108 different Latin and Greek roots that go over in this book. And we got to maybe 72 or 80 or so in this book. And we're going to just finish this out this year because I thought this would be just a perfect introduction to some of the vocabulary and language arts that we're going to be doing in the program that we're planning on doing next year. So it has the different root and then tells you right here some English words that use it. And you're supposed to come up with these little cards to have kind of their own little word root bank of cards of the different roots that they've gone over throughout the year. And I thought that that was a little too much for Tony to do last year, since he was just starting out with writing. So instead of that, I came up with these little pages, and I have 4 boxes on each side. And I had him write the root and then color in red if it was Latin, green if it was Greek, and then blue if it was used in both. Write the definition and then draw a picture that went along with what the root meant. So we're going to continue on with that and finish that out with the remainder of this year. And like a lot of homeschool moms, I am always on the lookout for the perfect history book, which we know is pretty much, which is really not out there. So I'm always buying history books. So this is the latest history book that I picked up, History, Medieval Realms, Britain from 1066 to 1485. And this is definitely geared towards above Tony's age, but we've been using Galore Park, which is this, with their other books, Junior History, which we're supposed to start out, I think, 7 years old and up, but we started those last year, and we're finishing out book 3 this year. And I really like Galore Park from what I've seen. Not so much some of the changes that they're making, because science from junior science to the science that they have now is not the same. But I really liked what we used last year, so I thought I would try out this book. And I showed you some of the history books that I picked up earlier in the year, and I do like those, but not only am I looking for good content, I am also looking for things that are a lot cleaner. I don't really like books that have, you know, information here, and arrows and everything and all this like busyness going on in the page. I want it to also be clean and kind of easier on the eyes, and this definitely fits that bill. So I'm okay with using maybe a chapter in this book or a chapter in that book, as long as we get the information that we need. So we're probably going to try to figure out how to kind of get this, weave this in. And at the end of it, they have a family tree of the different monarchs. And like I said, this is talking mainly about Britain. This is talking about the British realms in the medieval period. And this is a British book. So it definitely has that as a focus, and I'm okay with that, because once we start next year kind of getting into American history, it weaves pretty nicely from British history into American history. And since the books are short, there's only 10 chapters or so in each of them, and even if you do 2 books in a year, you have enough time to put in all the other information on all the other cultures. You have enough time for, you know, a unit within Asia and Africa and all the other countries within those. So you have enough time to do everything that you want to do, even with kind of the British focus there. And next semester, we're going to be starting poetry. So I picked up Explore Poetry with 25 Great Projects. And so I'm probably going to spend the next couple of weeks going over, looking through this and trying to come up with a poetry unit. And we've done a lot of Dahl, so I'm glad that he's in here. And it goes over different poets and has different projects within it, and talks about different things within poetry. So yeah. And to go along with that, I picked up Writing Poetry with Children, and when I purchased this, it was showing the newer cover, but I picked it up from a third-party seller on Amazon, and they sent me this one instead, so I'm not sure if this is exactly the same as the newer one, just a new cover, so I'm going to look through this and figure out if we can use this or not, or I'm just going to probably go directly to Amazon and buy the newer version if that will work out better. I'm not sure just yet. So since we've been reading a lot of Doll, I picked up Who Is Doll, and we have a couple other Who Was books. Oh, that was Who Was, not Who Is. Who Was Genghis Khan, and Who Was Marco Polo. So on to the literature books that I've been picking up. I've had a little bit of a problem with those. I'll look for a book and think, you know, this is going to be perfect for this year. Looking at the age range, it may be, you know, 6 to 9, thinking it's going to be perfect for this year in second grade to do in the second semester. And then I pick up the book and think, well, you know, that would have been better for last year. Or I get a book and think, well, that will be better next year. So I think I've just kind of decided that I'm going to just pick up whatever looks good and then read it and figure out from there where I want to put it, and not kind of have my heart set on putting it in a certain year and then finding out it would be better somewhere else. So one book that I did pick up was The Water Horse, and my kids actually already saw this movie on on Netflix, and they really like this one, so we picked up the book, and I think this will be for next year. I'll have to see, because it does say from 8 to 12. I read it, and I think that we could do it this year, but I think that once we finish out with All About Reading, the 4th level that we're finishing up this year, Tony will be able to tackle this without a problem next year. I also have Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, and I have borrowed this CD from the library twice, or maybe even 3 times, and we've never actually listened to it yet. We're supposed to be doing this next week or so when we're going over China, and I'm going to have to probably get it again and actually listen to it when we do. But we're still trying to get through the Extraordinary Education of Nicholas Benedict, so that's why we are kind of behind on our audiobooks. So another one I have is The Minstrel, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, in the Tower, and this is one book that we're going to be using in a couple of weeks when we get a little bit deeper into the Middle Ages, since this is saying it's in 1195, so. Tony has been asking for more Nate the Great books. He really loved those last year. So this one I'm going to let him read, but I'm going to shelve it afterwards and have it assign it within 1st grade for when the other kids come up into 1st grade. So again, with me trying to, like I said before, trying to get the first book in a couple of different series, I picked up the Dragonling. And this kind of goes along with kind of in medieval times when there's lots of different stories about dragons and things, and just kind of the fun adventure of dragons that kids really love. So what I'm trying to do also with my literature is come up with 3 words that are our focus for the year. So for 2nd grade, kind of my theme throughout the year is mystery, adventure, and friendship. So that's this book definitely covers a lot of that. It's kind of a mystery of where and what the dragons are doing. He becomes friends with the dragon and has, you know, this little adventure within that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with the books. And for next year, my theme is perspective, nature, and technology. So I'm trying to look for books that kind of fit within that. But if it doesn't fit perfectly, then, you know, we can still enjoy a good book. So I've heard a lot about Magic Treehouse, and I picked up the first book, Dinosaurs Before Dark, and honestly, I wasn't that impressed. I don't know. Maybe it was just talked up to me more than, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed. It's not a bad book, but it wasn't everything that I had heard it was. I think that Tony will still enjoy it, so it's probably going to be one of the books that I put on the shelf. Tony can usually earn a little bit extra TV time. It's early, I couldn't think of the word. He can earn extra TV time sometimes by reading more, so I do have a shelf of books that he can, you know, read a chapter to me and then earn an extra, you know, half an hour or so of TV. So I have the data set, March of the Mini Beast, and this is book 1 in the data set series, and this is kind of science fiction-y. They end up getting these little stuffed animals and they turn them real, And it's more of a kind of just get kids excited about science type of book. So this is definitely one that we'll probably put on the shelf, and I think he'll enjoy it, but I don't know that it's school material. So I'll put this on the shelf and he can read this whenever he wants. So I think he'll really be interested in this series. I have 2 Cynthia Rowland books. I have The Storm, and I also have In Aunt Lucy's Kitchen, and this one is a Cobble Street Cousins book. I also have The 14th Goldfish, and this is a good book, and this is another one that it's kind of get kids excited about science type of book without shoving it down their throat. It makes science fun. This little girl, Ellie, and her grandfather aren't really close because the mother and the grandfather aren't close, but through a series of events, the grandfather and the little girl become close, and he teaches her a lot about science, but not in a shove it down your throat type of way, but in a, oh, by the way, that was science. So the girl comes to find out that she really likes science more than she likes theater and drama that her parents are into. And by the end of it, at the end of the book, they kind of have a few pages on some of the scientists that Ellie learns about with her grandfather. So I could definitely see giving this book to a kid that doesn't really like science, but showing them that science is all around you. So I also have this book here, The First in the City of Ember series. And this, I really did enjoy this book. It's kind of a dystopian, not really a future, because you don't really know if it's the future or the present. It just says it's been about 241 years. They're not sure exactly how long these people have been in this city, and everything is breaking down within the city, and everyone knows things are breaking down and things are getting bad, but no one's really looking for any solutions. So these 2 kids, they take it upon themselves to look for a solution for a way out of the city. And I think that it says it's from 8 to 12 that it's kind of geared towards. And you could definitely read this with an 8-year-old. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it next year, because I think that a lot of life's bigger questions and will kind of go over an 8-year-old's head, and you could probably have deeper conversations with maybe a 10-year-old or up, so we might save this for 5th grade. But it's definitely a good book and a good read. I also have Magazu, and this book, I read the first page on Amazon, and 5 seconds later, I was buying the book. It is, it really draws you in. It's 20 different chapters, but it is written entirely in rhyme, which is kind of just a fantastic way of doing a book. Like it says on the cover, and like a lot of reviews say, it pretty much is if Seuss and Doll like had a book baby. This would be their book baby if they got together. So you could definitely enjoy this book if it was done, if you were listening to it as an audiobook, you can definitely enjoy it. But you're not going to get as much out of it unless you're having it right in front of you. So right here it's showing, you know, also how it's showing the words moving as, and you can kind of get the feeling of what is going on. Like right here it's showing this ball going through this machine, going down and like spinning. And then it's also, let's find another page. You can see when the words are bigger, you know, the urgency in that word right there, run. Or when it has, let me see, it's showing going down, you know, this winding tunnel. And you can really see what is going on, and just by the words in themselves. And here's another example. When it uses the word creatures over and over again, you get an idea of what these creatures look like just by the different font that is being used. So this is really an excellent book. And it's something that I think we're going to put this for next year, because I think it will go perfectly with one of the poetry and language arts things that we're going to be using next year. It'll go absolutely perfectly. And I think that my son will really enjoy this one. So the last book I want to show you right now is The Wild Robot, and I'm almost done with it. And this definitely goes along with my theme for next year, so this will be a book for next year with perspective, nature, and technology. Definitely goes over all 3 of them. This robot gets stranded on this island and is learning about herself and learning about nature, and talks about the robot's adventures and what exactly what the robot is learning about while on the island. I haven't finished it, so I'm not sure how it ends, but I will probably finish this out today. So those are all the books I'm going to show you right now. I'm already at 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop here and look out for my next homeschool haul videos. But for now, thanks for checking this video out from Hidden Library Homeschool. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Bye.